Okay, so hello everybody, welcome back. Good afternoon, everybody. So this is the lesson number 51 on CSS. We are going to understand transform and transition, right? And we are going to understand how we can animate our CSS web pages, how we can use transform and transition to rotate our div elements or paragraph elements and all of those things. Okay, so there are so many methods which we'll be understanding today in this session, and then later on at 2 p.m. we are going to start with animations. Okay, so this is just transform and transition. The other one at 2 p.m. is basically the animation. Fine. So if you guys do not know what is happening right now, if you guys are new here, then let me tell you what is happening here. So basically we are understanding front-end development. So at CodeBeyond channel by Unacademy, we are providing front-end playlist, which is for free. So this whole content is for free. You can watch it and you can see all the other videos, all the other lessons, what we have covered and how we have covered, what all topics we have done, all those things. So basically we are covering HTML, CSS and JavaScript right now. And later on we'll start with frameworks and libraries so that the whole front-end thing is completed and you are getting ready for the interviews. Okay. So if you do not know about me, then let me tell you about myself. My name is Ritwik Raj and I'm a corporate trainer. I've also worked as a research analyst and a subject matter expert in most of the tech companies. I have 3+ of years of teaching experience and I've trained graduates and corporate employees in Edison and Capgemini. I've trained more than 30K students till now. The subjects which I take is mostly into front-end development, back-end languages, databases, and some tips and tricks on how to crack interviews. I have a very good news for you now that you can use my coupon code, which is RIT10, to get a free level sample test paper. Now, if you do not know what is a level sample test paper, then don't worry. In just 1 minute, I'm going to tell you what is Relevel. But if you do know about Relevel, then you know that there is an actual test which will be happening for you, right? So if you want to get an idea which kind of questions will be asked there and how it will look like, then you can use the coupon code to get the free level sample test paper. Okay, it will be really beneficial for you. Now, the people who do not know what is level, let me tell you about this. Now, there are so many candidates who are there in different domains. Maybe they are doing BSc, BCA or BCom and they want to jump to IT sector or to IT field, right? And there are so many people also who are doing engineering from EC or Triple E and they're from tier 3 college. So many of the companies are not coming there and they are not getting opportunities to get interviewed and getting hired, right? So what is happening, these guys are applying for 50-60 companies but haven't been called for even a single interview. Reason can be anything. Reason can be their degree, reason can be your marks, reason can be your connections, it can be anything, right? So here we are introducing Relevel. It is India's first test hiring platform by Unacademy, which is helping job seekers find their dream jobs. So you can get a job based on your skill and talent. How on the basis of skill and talent we are going to judge you? So you have to give a free test. You have to appear for a free test, which will be of 1000 marks and you have to score above 700. If you score above 700 marks, you're going to pass it and then we are going to prepare a profile for you and that profile will be shared with all the multinational companies which we are connected with and they will give you an opportunity to get interviewed and hired, right? So over 50+ companies including top startups and unicorns like Upgrad is also there. There are 1000+ job positions across business development, front-end development and back-end development which you can get interviewed for and get hired. Okay, now how to sign up and how to register yourself in this particular test. What you can do is in the video description you can find the link which will get you to relevel.com. If you click on that, you will be able to get into the web page. If you click on sign up, you have to put down your phone number and get the OTP, and after that what you can do is you can see this web page. Here what will happen, you have to choose the test which you want to give, on which you have the skill. Suppose you are skilled in front-end development, select that and then book a slot when you want to give the level test. Slots are limited, so I suggest you to book it fast. And then you can fill in the details for your admit card. So you can fill in full name, email ID, birth year, current state and gender. And after that you can fill the coupon code which is RIT10, click on apply and then you can create account. Once you click on create account, your account will get created and you will be able to see the sample paper here. Right, so this sample paper will only be there when you will use the coupon code RIT10, otherwise it will not be there. So using the sample paper you will be able to understand what kind of questions can be asked in the actual test and then you will be ready for the test, correct? So Do hurry, because as I said, there are selected and limited seats available. So please go ahead and register. If you have done it already, then all the best for your actual exam. And if you have not done it, then please do it. And suppose if you are not ready for this exam, if you are thinking that I only know C programming language, how can I crack this test? Then what you can do is you can go ahead and see the CodeBeyond channel, the YT channel. You can see what all playlists are there, what all live sessions are going on, which particular educator is teaching which session, DSA, CP, front end, back end, Python, SQL. So many live sessions are going on. You can have a look and you can upskill yourself, and then when you're ready, you can register in Relevel. Also, please do join the Telegram channel to get an update of Relevel also, and also notifications for when which educator is coming live in CodeBeyond YT channel. Also, we'll be sharing the files, code files here in this Telegram channel. So it's really very important for you to please join this channel. The link of this Telegram channel is given in the description. Please subscribe the YouTube channel, which is CodeBeyond. So, and also please hit the notification bell so that you get notified about all the upcoming live sessions. And also please like and share this video so that everybody else can also know that this free content is going on. Fine. So let's get started with transform and transition, and let's understand what is this and how is it working. Fine. So first we'll see transform, and then we are going to see transition. So I'm just opening my Visual Studio Code. As you can see, this is our Visual Studio Code. Let me just open the browser also. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another file. I'm going to just say here transform.html. Okay. And I'm going to just write simple understanding transform and transition. Okay. And here we are going to start our particular web page. I'm going to run this in open with live server, and here you can see that it is running. It says understanding transform and transition. Fine. So we are going to understand how this works, but before that, let me know who are watching this session. And if you do not want to talk, if you do not want to say anything, ask your doubts, and also please give me a thumbs up if you guys are understanding something. Okay. So I'm going to close this, and I'm just going to start writing my code. But before that, let me make you understand what all functions will be there in our transform. Okay. Also, let me open my live chat in the mobile so that I'll be able to see the live chat in my screen as well. Cool. So let's get started. Now, the functions which we'll be using, the methods which we'll be using in our transform is something like translate. Okay. These all functions, these all methods we'll try to see. We'll see how does this work and what is the work of all these. Don't worry about that. We are going to see all of them. Scale X. We have scale Y. I think we have scale also. Then we have Skew X. Similarly, we have Skew Y. And then we have Skew also. And the next we have matrix. These are the main methods which we have to see in transform. Please remember this, because we are going to see one by one all of these methods, and we are going to understand how these all methods are working in transform. Fine. Now transform, if you can understand with the word itself, transform means that whatever you're writing, that should get transformed into something else, right? That is what is the meaning of transform. So suppose that I am writing here one particular div element. Okay. And let's say that I'm writing here some statement. Hey everyone, welcome to CodeBeyond channel, where you are understanding all front-end development topics such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay, this is what is the statement which I have written. Let me just break it down. Okay, and I hope you are loving these sessions and understanding every bit of it. Okay, this div I have written here. Now what I'm going to do, as you know, transform and transition is a property of CSS. So we are going to go to the CSS and we are going to style this. Okay, so what we are going to do here is, in this style we are going to write div, and to this div we are going to give something. So this div, let's say I'm going to put it as 300 pixels so that it only appears in a 300 pixel kind of size. Okay, and then I'm going to give an height. So let's say I'm giving here it as 150 pixel. This is the width and height which I have given. Also I will give a border so that you'll be able to see that box itself. So I'm going to give here black. Okay, let's see what's happening in my browser till now. So if I go to my browser, if I save this, you were expecting this, and that is what is coming, right? Now let me bring back this to 100 so that you can see the exact way how it will look like. Okay, this is the way how it should look like, but I'm zooming in so that you can understand what's happening here and you can see it clearly. So let's come back to the code. I've given these all things with the height and border till now. Next, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give a background color to this. Let's say I'm giving the background color to this as green. Let's say green yellow, and here I'm going to put transform. Okay, now what is transform? Transform is basically having all these different kind of functions which you can use to transform that particular element to any way. You can rotate it x direction, you can rotate it ulta, you can make it horizontal, you can make it vertical, anything you can do using this transform. Okay, so what we are going to do here is we are going to use the very first method which we have seen, which is translate. Okay, so in translate we'll give here 50 pixel and 100 pixel, and let's have a look what is happening. So when I'm giving translate means the position will get changed. Okay, so if I go back, two things will happen. First thing, the background color I've given green yellow, so that's gonna change, and the position will also get changed. So you can see here the position is now coming here, right? Let's understand why did this happen and what is the numbers which we have given here, right? We have given 50 and 100 pixel. Let's understand how this is happening. So 50 pixel is this, can you see? Right? So 50 pixel means from the left 50 pixel is shifted, and 100 is this. So from the top 100 pixel is shifted, correct? So it moves to the right, the box moves to the right and moves to the bottom, correct? So what have you understood from this? That the translate method moves an element from its current position to a different position. What positions? 50 pixel to the right, that means 50 pixel from the left, 100 pixel to the bottom, that means 100 pixel from the top. Fine, that is what it is doing here. That is what is transform doing there. That is what is translate doing there. Suppose if I write here 0 and I give this as 200. Let's go back to my browser. Let's save this. So it's 0. Can you see? It's 0. Still there is some space because I have not given margin 0. If I give margin 0, that space also is not gonna get visible. 200 pixel, why? Because from top 200 pixel is there. So understand, in the brackets there will be only two values, the left and the top. Fine, that is what is translate. Now let's do one more thing. Let's go back to the code and let's write something else here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to keep all these things as it is. I'm just going to comment this part, and I hope you can see my Visual Studio Code. And here I'm going to write transform rotate. Okay, to this rotate I'm going to give a value which is 20 degree. Fine, let's go back to my browser. Remember that I have not given now 200 pixels. It's gonna go back to the normal position and it's just gonna rotate 20 degree in the same position. I'm not changing the position. I have not changed the position. Position is the same, the default position, and it's rotating. So it's rotating 20 degree, right? 20 degree is something like down. If I go back to the code and if I make it 90 degree, you know what's gonna happen? This is 90 degree. Fine. This is how it is rotating. But let's have a look what's gonna happen if I have another div as well. So if I have here, let's say one more div, and I'm writing, let's say only this particular line there, right? I've just written this one line here in this particular div. Let's save this, and if you look at this now, here you can see this is my first div and this is my second div. It is all 90 degree. Both the things are now 90 degree, correct? But I did not want that. I don't want that both the div elements should be coming there. I want to make it separate. How we can do that? So let's give an ID here. Let's say that I'm giving here one ID as ID equal to Sam. Okay. And to this one, what I'm going to do, I'll keep it separate. So to this div, I'm just giving that. But to my Sam, I'm going to use something else. I'm going to give here rotate, and here I'm going to just give, let's say 15 degree. Okay. And also I'll do something after this div. I'm going to give a space. So if I save this now, have a look what is happening. So now both the divs are having the same colors, okay, the same properties of CSS, but only the second div is tilting, or you can say it's rotating, right? So rotate is that. Now suppose if I want to make changes in my first div also, that means both the div I want to translate. Have a look what I'm doing. If I'm writing transform in div, that means in both the divs something should happen. So have a look what is happening. Normally this div is not rotating the first div, but it's in the same place, and the other div is overlapping it because I have rotated that at 200 pixel. Okay. If you want to make it separate, you have to write a separate code. Fine. So this is what is your rotate. Now let's understand what is a rotate but in negative manner. So if I give a negative degree, what's going to happen? So let's say that I'm giving here minus. Let's say I'm not writing this transform. I'll keep it above only. And let's go back to the browser. Let's save this. So you can see the rotation is ulta now. The rotation is on the opposite direction. That is what is minus. Okay. Now, next we have after rotate is scale. But before scale, I want to show you something else. So if you can see here, when I write rotate, I have several more things here. I have X, Y, and Z, right? What happens if I write X, right? So what happens if I write here 20 degree? If I save this, 1 second. Okay, have a look. So I've just kept one quote here, single quote. I've not saved it. Let's go back. So you can see this, the second one, the second div element. Okay, have a look. Something will change here. Okay, just have a look what's gonna change. So I'm gonna save in the count of 3, 1, 2, and 3. So you can see it expanded, right? That is rotate X. So from X direction, it got into 20 degree. Now, why is it not showing me in that context? Because this kind of thing is called as 3D effect. Okay, so rotate X, rotate Y, rotate Z. If I give all those three, then only you'll be able to see all those changes. Let's come back to the code. Let's say I'm giving here I think we need to have a 3D context here. We are not using 3D, we are using 2D, so it's not going to work. Let's use normal rotate itself. Okay, so we're using this. Let's comment this. Let's move to scale. Let's move to scale. In scale, we have scale X, scale Y, and normal scale. So we're going to see how this is going to work. Let me save this first and let's have a look. This is how it is looking normally. Okay, one at 200 pixel and one at one below and one above. We have not given any transform, translate, or anything else. Let's come back. Let's come back to the code, and here we are going to use scale method now. In scale method, what happens? Let's see. So scale will, as you see, as you know, scale means scaling. So it's gonna increase my border and all. So I'm going to write here, let's say transform scale. I'm going to give 2,3. Okay, now 2,3 basically means that the width and height, so it's gonna change the parameters of width and height to 2,3. Let's understand what is happening in the browser. So if I go back, if you see here, if I save this, you can see what's happening. So it's increasing, right? The width and the height is increasing. If I do some changes, let's say I'm giving 2,2. If I save this, it's 2,2. So now it's looking not abrupt, because 3 when I gave, then the height was a little bit more, right? Suppose if I give height as 1, look at the height of the box. Okay, suppose if I give scale 3,1, the height will be same but the width will get increased. Okay, so that is what is scale. Fine, this is what is scale. Let me come back to the code and I'm going to again put it back as it was. Okay, let's say I'm giving here 2,3 only. Let's say 1 because it's very big, or let's do one thing, let's minimize it. So this is what is 2,3 right now. Okay, now what we are going to do is we are going to see scale X and scale Y. Okay, before that, let's do one more thing. So here, if I want to keep it in a very less, or it's very big right now, so what I'm going to do in the code, I'm just going to write here 0.5 and 0.5. If I save this, have a look, this is how, this is 0.5 and 0.5. That means if I write 1,1, that's gonna give me the exact normal way of putting the div, right? 0.5 is a little bit smaller, correct? So 1,1 is gonna give me the exact output. That is what is scale. Scale X is what? It's gonna increase or decrease the width of an element, only the width of an element. So if I write here, let's say I'm writing here X. Now this will not have any two values. It's gonna have only one value. So first of all, let's comment this because I want to show you how normally it is looking like. If I save this, if I show you my browser, this is how normally it's looking. Okay, this is the normal look. Let's come back. Let's uncomment this. Let's save this and have a look what is happening. So only the width is changing. The height is exactly the same. Only the width is moving. And that's what the same thing will happen when you use rotate X, rotate Y. Only rotating X direction will only rotate it on the width way. Rotating Y will only rotate it on the height way. But that will only work when you will use 3D. So right now it will not work. Right now we have this, which is scale X. We are also going to use scale Y. So let's come back to the code and I'll just change this to Y. Scale Y2, that means only in the vertical direction. That means only the height will increase and decrease. So width is gonna come back to the normal size. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to save this. So only the height is changing. The width is exactly the same because I've used here scale Y. Okay, that is what is a scale X and scale Y. Let's move ahead and move to the skew. So what is the skew? It's basically, see, translate is to change the position of the development, right? If you want to keep it somewhere else, it just takes the development and keeps it there. That is what is translate. Rotate means it rotates into a particular degree, right? Scale means it scales it. That means it makes your development expand or compress, something like that. When it comes to skew, skew is basically doing both the things what rotate and scale is doing. So it's basically moving the development with an angle, also with the x-axis or y-axis. So let me show you what do I mean. Right now I've not used anything, so it's gonna be normal. So I'm going to save this and have a look. Is the normal way. Coming back to the code, I'm going to write here transform skew. To this skew, I'm going to give some value. So let's say I'm giving here as 20 degree. Right? Now understand what's going to happen. Once again, I'll not use only skew, I'll use skew X. So let's see what happens. So if I go back, if I show you my browser, if I save this, you can see what is happening. This is not something like rotate. Rotate will rotate completely everything, right? But have a look what skew X is doing. X means x-axis, that is width. So to the width, it is just moving my text into a different angle. Okay, not rotating the whole div, but in a downward direction. So it's just skewing it, like tilting it in the downward direction, correct? If I give any other value, let's say I'm moving my 20 degree to 40 degree. If I save this, it's gonna bend more. So it's just bending, that's the right word. Okay, it is just bending my particular development. It's not rotating, it is bending. What if I use here skew Y? So I can use here skew Y. It's gonna do the same thing, but now it's gonna do it for y axis, which is height. So if I go back and if I save this, so now it's happening with the height. So now the height has been changed. Okay, if I give here 20 degree, skew Y 20 degree, this is what is 20 degree. Okay, so again understand that is just bending. It is not rotating the whole div. It is just bending. You can see this corner will always be here. Okay, and when we were using skew X, the down corner was always there. Correct? See, in X, always this will be touching that ground. Okay, and in Y, always the height will be touching that part. So it's just skewing, it's just tilting, it's just bending, right? That is what is skew X and skew Y. What skew will do, we can give width and height like this within a comma, just how we do it in scale. The same way it's gonna happen. So let's say I'm giving the width as 20 degree and height is 10 degree. So it's gonna tilt in the same way. Okay, so if I go back, X it's gonna be the same, Y it is tilting a little bit more. So did you observe something? So if I go back, one second. See, this is skew X. Okay, this is skew X 20 degree. Now I'm removing skew and I'm writing 20 degree and I'm just giving here a degree of Y. Have a look what I'm doing. Right now in my output in my browser, it's skew X 20 degree. Skew X 20 degree. Now also it is skew X 20 degree, but with just a 10 degree of tilt in Y direction. So if I go back to my browser, if I save this, have a look. X will not change anything. It's just gonna move a little bit on the Y direction. Right? x को कुछ नहीं हुआ, the thing is itself the same thing, it's just tilted because I've given y 10 degrees. So 10-degree tilt is there from the y direction. So that's how you can use skew. So let's come back. Hi Vivek Kumar Gupta. Sir, your teaching is awesome. I just completed with the previous videos till now. Perfect. That sounds good. I think you will be able to understand now all of these things. And if you're not looking at my live session right now, that's okay. You can read it and understand it later on, right? But please do update other people as well, your friends and all, that these sessions are really going well. It will be really helpful for me, right? Because I'll get some more audience and more people will get to know that, you know, these sessions are going on for free and it's going awesome. Correct? So transform we have seen in transform, translate, we have seen rotate, we have seen scale x, scale y, scale, we have seen skew x, skew y, and skew. Correct? What is next? We have matrix. Now matrix is basically the combination of all, right? So in matrix, what happens? In matrix, we have some parameters and those parameters we write everything. Okay, so it looks something like this. So inside matrix, we give scale x, we also give scale y, we give skew y, we give skew x, we give translate x, we give translate y. All these things we give it inside this matrix itself. Okay, so all of these things will happen together and that's why this is matrix. So if I comment this and I can write here transform matrix, to this matrix one by one I have to give the value. So if I look back, if I look down, I have what all values? First of all, I have to give scale x. So let's say I'm giving 1. Then I have skew y, so something like 0.3. Similarly, we can give 0. Similarly, we can give 1. Then again 0. Then again 0. Right? Suppose this particular value I have given. Let's go ahead. Let's go back. Let's see the output of this. So something like this is happening. So this is matrix. Normally, do not use matrix. If you will use matrix, some problems will happen. What's gonna happen in your matrix when you use matrix? The problem which you will face is when you're writing these values, you will get confused which one is scale, which one is skew. But when you're writing transform, rotate, scale, if any other developer or any other person whom you're sending your project is gonna watch it, he will understand that okay, what is scale, what is skew. Okay, so it's better not to use matrix, use it individually. Let's say that I'm putting here 2 comma, that is my skew, so that's a degree, so I'm going to just give here 20 degree. Let's say I'm putting here it as 10 degree, which is my skew x, I believe, and the next is my scale y. So let's say I'm giving here again 2 and translate x and translate y. So let's say translate x and translate y. I'm going to give here 200 pixel comma 200 pixel. If I save this, 1 second, let's give here 0 comma 0. Okay, yes, so have a look. When I'm doing this, it's not gonna work. Okay, fine. You can see there that it's not working here. The matrix is not working here. Why? The reason being, what I've done here is I've given some of the things in degree, right? So the matrix method takes 6 parameters containing mathematical functions, which will allow you to rotate, scale, move, translate, and skew elements. But these all are 2D combinations. These all are 2D methods combinations. Transform is itself a 2D combination. So we can't give here transform, translate X and Y. Fine. So that's why do not use matrix. Ritwik Prasad, how can we do a roll like a spin in some rotations? You can do a rotations also. How you can do a rotations? Let me give you an idea. So let's say I'm using here this part, transform rotate 20 degree. Okay, and let's say I'm giving here hash semp hover, and let's go back to my code. I hope you can see the browser. So I've written SAMP, that means the ID SAMP, in which I've written hover, and in the hover I've written transform rotate 20 degree, right? So I want it to rotate 20 degree once I hover. So if I hover, it is rotating, correct? It is rotating. That's I've given 20 degree. What if I give here 90 degree? It's gonna rotate into a 90 degree. What if I write here 180 degree? It's gonna rotate me complete, right? So I can give here 180 degree, and if I hover, see, it is rotating. Okay, but the problem here is that it is rotating, but it is not showing me while rotating, correct? It is not showing me when I'm rotating it, correct? And that's where it comes, we have to use the other one, which is 3D transforms and transitions. So transitions will make sure that the all transitions are visible. Okay, so we'll use transitions here, and then only we'll be able to see the rotation. But if you're saying that how can we do a role, that is how we can do a role. We have to use transitions there. Fine. So let's go back to our code and let's understand first of all 3D transforms. How do we use 3D transforms? Okay, now in 3D transforms we have a rotate itself, but in rotate we have rotate X, rotate Y, and rotate Z. That's what is the difference. So here I'm going to use rotate X, and I'm going to give here 150 degree, let's say, and I'm going to show you my browser. Here I'm going to remove this hover from here, and I'm going to save this. So you can see this is your 150 degree. That is rotate X only. Only with the X this is getting rotated. Okay, so don't get confused. This is rotate X, not complete rotate. Fine. So you can see here that rotation is also very abrupt. You can see it's all text is all opposite. Can you see? Right? So that is what is when you're covering transition right away. We will do it right away, don't worry. Just after 3D transforms, we are going to see that. So let's say that in rotate X, I'm going to give here 120. Let's save this. Let's go back. You can see this has been changed. Now it is 120 degree and it looks something like this. So this is what is 3D transform. Right now it is not rotating, so you can't see the 3D transform. Let's move ahead and let's see what is Y. So understand what is rotate X and rotate Y. Okay, suppose you have this much of development, this much big. Okay, rotate X, what it will do, it will rotate through X. So doesn't mean that it's gonna rotate your particular development itself. No, when you use only rotate 90 degree or rotate 180 degree, that's when it rotates. That means the development will be rotated at a certain angle. But when you write rotate X any degree, that means within that X, within that width itself, it's gonna compress or expand. So if you're writing rotate X 120 degree or 150 degree, that div element is gonna compress. It will look like compress, but it is actually rotating within X axis itself. Imagine a 3D world, right? You have X, you have Y, and you have Z. Okay, you can see things in 3D manner, right? You can see your table lamp in a 3D manner from X direction, from Y direction, and from Z direction, correct? So think about this box in a 3D direction. Think about this box in a 3D direction. When you think about this box in a 3D direction, suppose there is an axis, X axis, Y axis, and Z axis. I'm keeping this box in between those axes in the 0th position, and I'm just moving my X axis. Only the X axis. I'm just moving my X axis. I'm rotating my X axis. So will that change my development? Will it change the appearance of development? It will not change the angle of development. It's gonna change the content or the look of the development. Okay, that's what is happening. If I write here rotate Y, so rotate Y will change its height appearance. If I save this, it's changing the height appearance. Again, understand that put this box in a coordinate system of x, y, and z, and then understand if y is like this. If I rotating like this, what's gonna happen? Then the div will not look like this. The div will not come here. No, it's not gonna tilt. The y is changing. That means only the axis is getting rotated, not the div element. I hope you're getting. Remember, understand that these are 3D, not 2D. Earlier we were doing 2D. When I was only writing rotate, that was 2D. But I'm now using rotate x, rotate y, rotate z. So now it's all 3D. So you have to think in a 3D way. Okay, so what will happen to y? Suppose this is the height of the div. Okay, this is the height. So what's gonna happen? It's gonna compress like this. In x, what was happening? X was happening like this. So it is compressing something like here and there. Let me again show you once more, and then we'll move to the next one. So I'll keep it ordinary right now. So the whole transform, I'm just going to comment. As you can see, I've commented everything. Fine. Now I'm going to write rotate x. And I'm going to rotate it 120 degree. Right now it's normal. Right now it's normal. I've not written anything. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to rotate it x 20 degree. Fine. Let's go back to my browser. Let's have a look. So you can see the width will get compressed. So have a look what's gonna happen. It compressed and the text came down because it's 3D. So the rotation is in the x direction, but it got rotated, something like this. So the width also got changed. Now what I'll do, I'll again come back. I'll come back to the normal position. So I'm commenting everything. Now it's in the normal position. Now I'm going to use rotate y. Okay, so have a look. I am uncommenting this rotate y thing. Fine. I've not saved it. Have a look in the browser. What's gonna happen? So this is my div. It's gonna compress from here. Okay. So have a look what is happening. It's compressing. The text now went to the right hand side. Why? Because the box is moving like this. So it's moving completely like 120 degree, and the text came this side and the box got compressed. That is rotate y. Now we are going to see rotate z. Again, rotate z is basically a different kind of angle. X and y we can understand, but rotate z is something very different. So what's going to happen here? It's going to rotate an element around this z axis. Now if you know, z axis is always something like this, right? In front of you, right? X is something like this, y is something like this, then z will be in between, something like this, coming towards you. That's what gives you a 3D effect, correct? So have a look what's going to happen. I'm going to my browser, going to comment this because I want it in a normal way. So now it's in a normal way, right? And now I'm going to put here z-axis. In the z-axis, I'm just going to give here, let's say 90 degree. Okay. Now z-axis is coming in front of you, right? So in the box, there'll be not much change, but the text changes will be there. So let me comment this. Let me uncomment this. If you look here, I've uncommented, and now I'm going to save this file. So 1, 2, and 3. You can see here, the text you can see it's now that side and it is now 90 degree. Correct? Even if I write here 120 degree, let's save, you can see. So now Z is giving me tilting directions. X and Y was not giving me the tilting directions. X and Y was just separate. So Z is giving me that which direction it is going. Z work is that, right? X is width. X is x-axis, the horizontal way. Y is vertical. Z is something else, right? It's either front or back. That's when it becomes 3D, right? So this is your front and back. If I use X, Y, and Z all three, then it's gonna give me a 3D. But with that we'll see in transition, not here. Okay, fine. So this is what is your 3D effects. So understand, again, in 2D we have translate. Let me write here. Transforms, we have translate, rotate, scale x, scale y, scale, skew x, skew y, skew, and matrix. And in 3D transforms, we have rotate X, rotate Y, and rotate Z. Okay, these are the 3D transforms. Now we are going to understand transitions. So let's understand how transitions works. Now understand, in transitions there are some properties we need to know first of all, because there are a lot of transitions. So all the transition properties are having different meanings. First of all, the first one is transition. The second one is transition delay. That means after how many times, after how many seconds you want this transition to happen. Okay, delay. Let's say I'm saying that after 2 seconds of delay, this course will get started. So that means after 2 seconds, the course will get start, right? So that's what this delay. The another one is transition duration. That means for how much amount of time the transition should happen. Let's say that I'm saying that course is of 2 hours. So that is the duration of the course. That's what is duration. So understand the difference between delay and duration. Delay means after how many seconds or minutes the transition will get start. Duration is for how many time, for how many amount of time the transition is gonna happen. Okay. Next is transition property. So here we can give any property. We have a lot of properties. I'll tell you which one to give and when and what. The next is transition timing function. This timing function is always linear. If you know timing functions, if you have studied mathematics, you must be knowing sine, cos, tan and all. You must be knowing that there is a timing function, right? It goes either linear or something else. So here we want to give all our transitions to happen linear itself. Okay, that's what is timing function. These are some of the transition properties which we'll be using. Fine. So let's see one example and let's see how we can do this. So let's say I'm commenting this all things. Fine. And understand that I'm not going to write anything in the div also. Okay. I'm not writing anything in the div. What I'm going to give, I'm just going to give here div. That's it. And I'll go above, and in this div, I'm going to give something. So understand what I'm giving. First of all, I'm giving here width. Let's say 100 pixel. So when you're giving an 100 pixel, that means there is something which is of 100 pixel. If I'm giving height, let's say I'm giving height as 100 pixel. That means this is square box, but this square box should be having some color. So let's say I'm giving here a background color of black. So what we can say here, that there is a black square box. Can we say there is a black square box? Yes, we can say that. So what I'm going to do, let's say I'm going to my browser. I'm going to save this. Can you see a black box? You can see a black box, right? How this black box is coming? Because of only width, height and background color. Fine. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going back to the code and I'll write here transition. In the transition, I'm going to give here width. Okay. This width is basically the transition property. What I want to change. I want to change the width after 2 seconds. Okay. Okay. That means for 2 seconds. That is transition duration, what I've written. Next, what I'm going to do, I'm going to write when this particular transition should happen. So let's say I'm putting here div hover. So whenever I am hovering the mouse into it, then the width should change to from 100 to 400 pixel. Okay. In how many seconds? In 2 seconds. So let's go back. Let's save this. And right now nothing is happening. When I hover, the width is changing. And this change is happening only in 2 seconds. Okay. Coming to the code back. Now what I can do, I can change this to width to height. If I do this to height, and if I don't write here height, what's gonna happen? Let's understand. So if I save this and if I go back, can you see what's happening? Just I am putting my mouse and it's showing me width 400 pixel, but there is no transition happening. Don't think that transition is happening. No. Transition is not working here. Why is it not working? Why I'm saying it is not working? Because in transition I have given height and I have given 2 seconds, and hover I have given width 400 pixel. So when I'm going to the hover, when I'm putting my mouse in the div, width is becoming 400 pixel. That's it. That is what is happening. This is not even working there, right? This will only work when I will change here to height, when I'll give here height. So let's say if I'm writing this, if I go back to the browser, now the height will change. Okay. Similarly, we can do this any property. Similarly, we can do this with any property. So you can write here, let's say you want to, when you are hovering, you want to change the background color. You want to change the background color to red. Fine. So what you can do here is you can remove this height and you can write here background color. 1 second. So you can write here background color 2 seconds with ease. Okay. Let's go back. Let's save this. Now if I hover, can you see what is happening? The color is changing, but with ease in 2 seconds. The duration which I have given here is 2 seconds. So color is changing from black to red in 2 seconds, not directly. Okay. Fine. So you can apply this to any particular command, any particular property. It's not only width, height or background color, but to any of the thing. Fine. Let's come back to the code. Let's say I'm not putting here any duration. What's going to happen then? So if I go back, if I hover, there's no duration. So in just 0.0 seconds, changes are happening. But this is not transition now, right? Transition should be very smooth. It should be looking like there's something magic happening, right? So that is what is transition. You have to give duration so that it looks fine. Suppose if I give here 4 seconds, it's gonna take time. So it's now taking a longer time to do the effect, right? So that's what is your transition, and that's how we have seen the example for this. We'll see some more examples. Let's say I want to change some more properties with the background color also. So let's say I'm going to write here width 2 seconds. That's this much. And width, make it 400 pixel till when I'm hovering. Okay. So if I show you my browser right now, save this. If I hover, when I'm hovering, background color should also change to red and the width should also move to 400 pixel. Background color should change in 4 seconds, but the width should change in 2 seconds. Cool. The background color is taking time, but width is happening quickly. I can do this with height as well. So I can give a comma. I can give here height. And I can say here 6 seconds. It's going to take more time. So height is going to take more time than color, right? And also I have to give here height. Fine, let's save this. Let's go back to the browser. When I'm hovering, background color will take 4 seconds to become red. Width will take 2 seconds and height is going to take 6 seconds. Can you see height is taking 2 more seconds? Right? So this is what is your transition. Okay. This is how your transitions happen. Any doubt still here? Please do let me know. Otherwise, we'll move to the next part. Fine. So There are several properties like I have given here ease, right? Like ease, there are some more properties which we can give. Okay, so there is something called as linear, there is ease, there's ease in, there's ease out, right? There are many other properties which we can use. Okay, so let me do something. I'm going to comment this. Okay, and to this div I'm just going to write here 5 div elements. Okay, we have div 1, div 2, div 3, div 4 and div 5. Linear ease in, ease out and ease in out. These are the 5 properties which we can give to any of the uh, uh, transition. This is nothing but your transition timing function. Okay, so you can see I have linear. We always use linear. Sometimes we use ease, but let's see what are these 5 things doing here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to give all these div some transition timing functions. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to type here this. So I have here div 1, div 2, div 3, div 4, div 5. All the divs we have given different timing functions. Some properties also will go and give to the div. So let's say we will use the same property. I think width 100 pixel, background color black. We are going to give transition. I'm going to just give here width 2 seconds. Okay. Fine, so I have this div, I have the black color, I have the width 2 seconds. These are the things. Now I have to give the hover effect. So in hover effect, let's say I'm changing the width only. Let me uncomment this. In the hover effect, let's keep the color. No, not the color. Color I have not written there. Only the width. Okay, only the width. So let's come back to the browser. Let's save this. We have 5 boxes, and if I hover to the boxes, then we can see all the 5 boxes of all the 5 div containers are having different timing functions. Let's first look at the linear one. Okay, understand that the transition is on width, so width is gonna change from its normal position 100 pixel to 400 pixel within 2 seconds. Okay, same thing will happen to all of them, but timing function is different. So you'll just see minimal differences. Okay, so do not say that everything is happening the same way. You will just see a minimal difference. First one is linear. Okay, this is linear. This is ease. You can see how quickly it happened, right? Ease in, it's very smoothly it's happening. This is ease out. Again, there is some change in all of them. Ease in, out. Okay, everything is happening. Every black box is doing the same thing. Width is changing from 100 pixel to 400 pixel, but timing function is different. For linear, timing function is differently working. It's like doing it something like this. So at first speed and then slowing down. If you look at this at very fast, that's ease. Ease in slowly, then ease out fast, ease in out, it's medium, right? So there are different timing functions. You can use any one which you want, but generally in all the whatever examples I have seen, we have used linear and ease because those are two which you can see the difference. Linear is something like this, but have a look at ease, right? It's like it's taking a break. So that's how the difference is there in your timing functions. Fine, let's go ahead and let's see the transition effect. Okay, what is transition effect? That there should be a transition delay which I want. So let's say I'm keeping only one box. Okay, not giving any text here, and this also I can remove. I don't want this. Transition timing function, let's remove that also. Okay, so div is width 100 pixel, background color black, transition width 2 second. Here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give transition delay of 2 seconds. Okay, width 400 pixel. Here, there's only one div, right? So why to write this? Fine. So transition is happening with the width. This is transition delay also of 2 seconds, and the duration is also 2 seconds. Fine. Let's save this. Let's go back to my browser. You can see only one element. Now, when I am hovering, it's not going to do anything for 2 seconds because I've given a delay of 2 seconds. So if I keep the mouse 1, 2, then it's happening. The duration of that is 2 seconds also, right? If I remove it, 1, 2. Okay, so that is what is delay. Go back. If I will make it 5 seconds, and if I make this as 4 seconds, duration is 4 seconds and transition delay is 5 seconds. Let's save this. Let's go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the duration is 4 seconds, is taking time. Remove it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. The duration is again 4 seconds. Let's say what I'm doing is coming to back to the code. I'm removing this and making it 1 second. That means the duration of the transition effect should be very fast. Okay, so let's save this. Let's move back. Again, 5 seconds we need to count. And the duration of the speed will be very fast because it's just 1 second. Fine. That is what is the difference on transition delay and transition duration. Fine. Let's move ahead and let's do one more code. We are going to see here the rotate, which you asked me, like, right, how the rotation is happening. So we have the height, we have the width, we have the black color, and we are going to write here transition. This delay I'm going to remove. And in this transition, what I'm going to write width 2 seconds. Let's say 4 seconds. And to this, I'm also going to change the height. So let's say I'm changing the height to again 4 seconds. And I'm going to use here transform. Understand what is transform? Transform is, which we have seen, how to transform some particular box to a different place, right? So we have to give a transform value also. So when I'm hovering, the width will change to 400 pixel. The height will change to 400 pixel. And there will be a transform of rotation. So I will rotate it to 180 degree. Okay. I can add something else also. I can add here ease and all those things I can add. I can add transition delay itself. I can add so many things here, but I'm not doing that right now because I don't want to make it complicated. Let's go back to the browser. Let's save this. Nothing is happening. I have given transition width 4 seconds, height 4 seconds, transform 2 seconds. So transform is going to happen in 2 seconds. Hover is width 400 pixel, height is 400 pixel, transform is rotate. So let's hover. Okay. Fine. So everything is working here. Width is changing to 400, height is changing to 400, transform is rotating it into 180 pixel, 180 degrees, right? If you want, you can change the color as well. So let's say that I want to change the color. So I'm giving here background color for 4 seconds, comma, and I'm going to put here background color red. Let's save this. Let's go back. Let's hover. Let's remove it. Cool. So this is what is your transform and transition. I hope you have understood how these codes are happening. Thank you so much for the session. I hope you enjoyed it. Okay. Let's go back to my slides and please join the Telegram channel. I hope you have understood all of these topics. please join the Telegram channel so that we can pass the code there, and also you can see when I'm coming live and when other trainers are also coming live. So please do join it. Also, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is CodeBeyond, and also please like and share. If you have already liked the video, thank you so much. If you have not liked it, please do like it. I think this session was really awesome, and I hope you have understood what is transform and transition. At 2 p.m. again, I'm going to come back and we are going to see animations. So we are going to see how animations work in CSS. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. I'll meet you really soon, which is at 2 p.m. Tata, bye bye, take care.